Thank you, and love this question. So, quantum jumping to me fascinates me because there's two aspects. There's the quantum mechanics side, and then there's the metaphysical side. Quantum mechanics, think of Quantum Leap, the old school show. I know they revamped it, but I'm an old head. I like the old school show where his body, Sam, he goes and particles go everywhere, and he's now his soul is technically jumping through all these places. His body as well, but his soul is the main thing that's transitioning between these timelines. And I love this because it goes along with free will, which is the whole show is based on his free will to align with that avatars that he's in's body to then complete their soul path that they didn't get to complete. So he's using his time and space energy to go back and correct timelines per se. This is something that I believe is done as well when we do ancestor work. So again, we're maybe not at that level of think of 3D printing where it take a concept from the computer and you can digitally print it out. That's where we would love to get. That's what we've seen in Star Trek and other things where we want to know if we can do that with the body, and if we are able to let the body be able to reparticleize somewhere else, does that destroy the essence of this body and the original copy? And so this, I believe, is true, yes, because there is only one original avatar that was born through the flesh. So if you are now transitioning between time and space and it's just recopying your cells, then you're a copy clone. That's what I believe. Again, I don't know how far in advance that technology is, but that's how I would quantify it in my mind. Now, the metaphysical part of it, when we're quantum jumping, is the spiritual side of when things just rapidly change. This looks like moving somewhere new, doing something different, changing your eating routines and your body habit, physicality, going to school, learning a new thing, something like that. These are the spiritual, emotional side of quantum jumping, right? When I first started, I did not think of myself as a writer. I did not quantify myself as a writer. I just knew that I loved literature and speech and everything else. Again, I don't think I'm the best writer. I just know that I have a story to tell. And I didn't realize that having a story to tell makes you a writer or a producer or a creator. I thought that you had to have years of education behind you, which is helpful. I'm not saying that that's not. But in order to quantum jump, you have to start somewhere and believe that you're capable of being that thing. So it took me a while to be like, yes, I could see the visions of me creating this space where I was making shows and whatever else and creating this thing out of nowhere. But then I also had to remember that emotionally and physically, I had to align myself with that, which looked like putting in the work of actually practicing writing and looking up more and researching and starting my own projects and putting my story into them, right? Which has now let me jump from just a regular 9 to 5er, which again, nothing wrong with that, to a serial entrepreneur where I am focused on having my main business be my main business, but I have multiple businesses. So I've quantum jumped from a 9 to 5er to a business person, right? So now that I've set myself up for that, that is the path that I'm on. So when you're able to shift your energy to a new thought process and then put in the physical work and action is then when you align your soul path with a new path. You can do this in your dreams. You can do it talking out to yourself. There's many different ways of doing it. Again, I don't know if we're at the scientific sci-fi level of quantum jumping, which is again making our particles redistribute somewhere else in time, space, and whatever. Again, it would be cool, but that part, maybe we have it, maybe we don't. I can't confirm. But I do know that emotionally, spiritually, we do it all the time. People call it astral projecting and other things. I call it deep daydreaming. Like I'll just be sitting here typing and then I'll be working, focused on working and looking at the screen, and out of nowhere, my mind, my eyes, everything in front of me changes visually. The sounds and things around me change, and I'm just in a trance in this place. And I see everything and feel everything and taste everything. When this happens, I focus on allowing it to keep happening. No matter what's happening around my environment, no matter if a new email comes in or the phone rings, I focus on where is this? How do I feel in this moment? And when it comes to me like that, I know that it's a blessing or that it's divine energy because I'm not asking for this vision. This vision is just coming to me. So when I allow myself to sit in it and just go into it, to me, that is a massive spiritual quantum jump where now you're seeing something at the end of what it is. So you know you get there, but then you also get to go back and live their life and experience to add up to that. Another thing I believe in is you can change timelines too many times, right? This looks like in the spiritual world, not knowing how to decide what modality you're into, right? You can have 18 modalities. So now you're jumping between timelines, and you're this and you're this. I did this when I first started. I was a coach, and then I was this, and then I was this, and I was this. I'm still all those things, but I had to focus on one of them. What is my overall goal? To share spirituality with others and the journey that I've experienced along the way that might give others answers. That became the spiritual tour guide. Thank you to another person who said that, because I was like, I got to use that. And so I become that for myself, right? This is again jumping me into another timeline of spirituality where I'm putting myself in a leadership role. I'm putting myself in a mastermind role. I don't need someone to tell me that I belong there. I know that I belong there. So because of that, I instantly take myself out of an old timeline and put myself in a new one. And this allows me to then bring on that confidence that people see. This allows me to then use that free will that I was talking about to say, now that I see that if I change this little thing, not change myself or the essence of me, but just change this little thing on the outside world, change my sleep schedule or change how I focus when I'm writing or something. That right there allows me to then align the physical avatar with the soul's path, because the soul's path is bigger than whatever project the higher self has the body working on. Remember, our projects are not our legacy. They're just a way to help us live throughout the energy so that the energy keeps being replicated. So it is our legacy, but what I mean by that is it's not our only existence just to be this one thing as a tool. We are also in utilization as something that helps grow this process too. So the human is there to put the output energy out. The spirit is there to put the input energy in, right? And then from there, spirit aligns the soul and the avatar with what we call its divine purpose, or whatever path that aligns it up with the things that we know work best for us. So depending on what you want to do with quantum jumping is where then it's going to allow you to jump further into the expansion of what we call time, future, space. If you're only jumping into timelines to go back to fix old stuff, you're going to get caught in what we call quantum entanglement, where you have too many things attached to you and you're trying to focus on making those old things fix and work when you shouldn't have been there in the first place. So you want to focus on making sure that you stay where you want to be so that you don't get lost there. This is why if you don't have checkpoints of those timelines, if you're just going back for ego, then you're going to get trapped in an ego time space, and you're going to have to relive that life. And that's how people get caught in lives where they're like, how am I here? How is this my life? Because you took on that identity and that energy versus staying on your timeline and focusing on what you need to. Of course, you can always get out of it. But in my opinion, again, this is where the soul work comes in, and the past life regression, and asking myself, why did I feel the need to do this? If it wasn't for helping others, what was it for? If it wasn't just for the ego's sake? And that's going to help us then align with vibrations, what we call ascension, where to me, it's just a pool, a cycle of energy. This is one pool of energy. So if your vibrations are what they call low, heavy, dense, very rudimentary, very human-based stuff, you're going to stay down here. When you start to shake out of that and realize, okay, I'm a human, but I also have other things that I spiritually want to align with, you start kind of coming up out of that and you start hovering here. Again, 4D, 3D, 4D. So while you're here in the 3D world and the 4D world, they're creating yin-yang energy, but at the same time, there's still a spiritual thing connecting them to give them that energy. So this is where I say we can quantum jump now to that higher self and listen to the wisdom of our present, now, past, everything, all at once. And it gives us that enlightenment to say, I see the path, or I took that before, I don't need to do that. And we can start playing with things that we already know we've done before. Like if we've already completed a cycle, the universe and spirit does not want us to repeat it. It's like, you did that. But if our ego gets trapped in old timelines trying to go back and fix and play and stuff, then yeah, we're gonna end up reliving that cycle inadvertently. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that answered your question. Thank you for, again, the compliment and presenting this question. But yeah, that's my stance on quantum jumping. Love you.